So let's bring in legal analyst and trial attorney Misty Marris to break down what this all means legally for Karen Read. Misty, when this mistrial happened yesterday, I said I want to talk to Misty tomorrow. So thank you so much for your time. The judge declaring a mistrial. We saw there in that clip Karen Read and her lawyers outside of the courthouse. They seem to be pleased with the result, saying that the attempts will fail. But just talk about what actually happens after a mistrial, because she was not found not guilty.
Right. So a mistrial is actually a victory for the defense. Of course, you want an acquittal. But if an acquittal is not going to happen, a mistrial is the second best scenario. And that's because the prosecutors actually have to go through the process of trying this case for a second time. And the defense now knows what the case is about. They know all of the evidence. They know what's out there and what's going to come into the courtroom. And they also have the opportunity to see how the jury actually took in that evidence. So from a defense perspective, it's another long road ahead for prosecutors to prove their case. So in the case of a mistrial, especially this type of case that had just brought people to totally different sides, to completely different theories of the case, I think the defense was pleased that this was the result. And look, will the prosecutors bring the exact same case moving forward? Well, they might want to tweak their legal theory, so the defense will be ready for that.
I do want to ask you about that, but I mean, let's just go back to the jury did come back 3 times saying that jurors were just deadlocked. They could not come to a unanimous decision. Misty, could the judge have asked them to, go back, try a 4th time, continue to deliberate?
So the jury came back on Friday and said, we are at an impasse. We cannot come to a consensus. And at the time, the judge said, get back into that jury room. I'm not going to read what's called a dynamite charge. The dynamite charge is the last-ditch effort that the judge reads. It's very specific language. In Massachusetts, it's called Tui Rodriguez. She said it was premature to read it on Friday because the jury had not deliberated long enough. On Monday, when the jurors came back, she read that charge. Nicole, once that charge is read, if the jury comes back a 3rd time, the trial is over. That's why you heard the prosecutors on Friday saying it's too soon to read it, and the defense arguing, hey, you should read this charge right now because the jury is telling you that they can't come to a consensus. So really, that was the end of the road once that dynamite charge was read and the jury was unable to come to an agreement on this case.
So, Misty, let's say this does go back to trial, that prosecutors again try to bring these charges. Just talk about the new jury selection process, because how difficult could it be to find people in that county who at this point now are not familiar with this case?
I wouldn't be surprised if the parties asked for a change of venue, specifically the defense, because this case was so highly publicized. And yes, it's one of those cases that garnered national attention. But in that particular county, especially since the defense case focused so much of an indictment on law enforcement and the police department and the investigators in that area, you may see a change of venue. And honestly, Nicole, usually prosecutors, they don't want to move. But I could see prosecution not wanting to be in that area as well, because you have jurors who are obviously very skeptical of law enforcement and really bought into the defense theory of the case. So I certainly foresee that as an argument coming up in the hearing later this month.
Yeah, we'll see what happens later this month. Misty Marris, as always, thank you so much. Great talking to you.
Thank you.
Well, up next, the mother of an American killed in Afghanistan is not happy with this year's recipient of the award that honors her son. What she's saying about Prince Harry.
This story was odd.
The mystery only grew deeper after it was all over.